June 20th. We sterilized the drill and verified with the drones that all of the microbials have been contained. The biome has seen zero exposure to outside microbials. The extent of these findings are incredible. There's even a small population of a previously extinct species, the glyptodon. I mean, this discovery could fundamentally change how we view biology and so many other fields. Following this transmission, we are sending a data pack that exceeds the maximum file size to be delivered in the standard time frame. We are attempting to deliver about 23 gigabytes of raw data, scans, and photos. End of audio log 19.
Yo, what's going on, you guys? This is Brandon.
And this is Blake.
And this is your favorite video game podcast, the Sticky Buttons podcast. And we're coming at you with the 48th episode here.
Dude, I'm excited, man. I think we got a great topic and we got a great lineup for games. And I'm just excited to jump into it. I'm happy to be here, excited to jump into it. It's going to be a great time.
Dude, I'm so stoked, man. Let's get right into it. What is the topic for today's episode, Blake?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was kind of inspired by a game that I played recently. I brought it up a little bit, Guardians of the Galaxy, and I beat the game. And then I was kind of thinking, did I really beat this game? Because I started out coming to the game for the game itself, and I kind of just realized as I was playing it was more of an experience. It was more about the characters. And that's really what kept me around. And I kind of was just thinking that after I saw the credits and felt like I beat the game, I was like, is that even the right term? Is that an outdated term? I mean, do you still beat a game? Like in today's, gaming landscape, like, do you beat games? And is it like an outdated term? Have we evolved past that? Is this vernacular? Does it make sense anymore? So just kind of wanted to chat about that, see what you felt about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting point, and it's worth looking into.
Because do you beat a Call of Duty?
Well,
I mean, do you beat Fortnite?
What do you mean by beating a game, right? Like, does that mean completion, or does that mean, for you, I prestiged in multiplayer, so I beat the game. I think it's definitely relative in that way.
Yeah. I think it's kind of open to interpretation for each person. And, I kind of feel like maybe in just bringing this up, I'm kind of leaning on the side of maybe we shouldn't call it that. Because let's take Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. I mean, it was more of an experience and I finished it. I finished the experience. I can go back into the chapters and look for items and customization options that I didn't find. I can go back into it and, do that. But, I feel fulfilled. I went in wanting to experience the full game. I finished the whole game and I saw the credits. So did I beat the game? I would say yes, but I also don't think that, totally encapsulates, my experience.
So what is this search totally encapsulate your experience? If you had to describe it with a word,
I don't see that. I don't know if there is a word. And that's why I'm just saying, is it weird that we say I beat X game, or is there a better way to say that?
Definitely, now that you're digging further, you're using this shovel to dig up some dirt, it definitely makes it, I don't know, it definitely feels weird now. Where did this come from? The concept of beating games?
I think it kind of stems from the arcade. Let's just say, let's picture an arcade machine, and you have an X amount of lives, and then you use those lives and you put the quarters in, right?
Yeah.
I think that they were designed in a way that they were super hard and super challenging to where you would put more quarters into it. And that's kind of how, games were designed to be hard and challenging, so you would put more quarters in. And I think that is kind of where this came from. But I feel like it's really evolved. I feel like games have evolved since then. We're paying, for the experience for the game up front. And, there's a lot of, we've talked about it before, difficulty in gaming, like Celeste, for example. I played that on like invincibility mode. Like I couldn't die because I was just really excited to see the story, but I had no interest in the game. So I went into it knowing that I can just like click like infinite jump and make it through these platforming levels. But did I beat the game? I would say I experienced it, but I also like I completely skipped out on that part of it. But I mean, like, I guess that's kind of irrelevant. I guess what I was saying is that with difficulty, difficulty started out as a way for you to put more quarters in the arcade. And then when you got to the end of it, I mean, you definitively got to the end.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, a lot of them were like very singular, like from A to B. Games have just evolved a lot since then. So I wonder if maybe we should start using different terms.
Well, do any terms come to mind for you?
I was thinking about this. The only thing I could come up with was I experienced it, but I don't know. That doesn't really fit. I mean, like, I guess it kind of fits, but it doesn't necessarily, like, you can still experience a game and only play half of it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe that's something that we should talk about. Have you experienced the full game if you've only played through half of the story?
You've experienced the full game if you rolled through the credits.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What do you think?
If you played the game through and you played through the credits, in my opinion, you've experienced the game, right? As the way the designers intended it.
Well, but then, so let me ask you this. With Pokemon, for example, like let's take Pokemon Sword and Shield. I played through the game. I beat all 8 gyms, and then I became the champion. And then I rolled credits. And then
right.
I went and fought the legendary Pokemon and caught the legendary Pokemon, which was like a whole side quest, a whole part of it. And I did that with the characters in the game, something very much designed for me to do, for me to experience. And then I bought the DLC and played through the entirety of the DLC and then rolled credits again. And then I still put 100+ hours into it. So at what point did I like definitively hit an end? Is there?
For me, the answer is clear. You definitively hit an end when you initially rolled through those credits.
Okay.
Because that was the game you purchased that you paid 40. How much are games? It was like $45.99.
I think it was $60.
That's $60. That was
actually I bought it used, but
that was the experience that you paid for, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it. That's actually I had 2 things written down. I experienced it or I saw credits. So I don't know. I don't really like the I saw credits. I mean, it definitely sounds better than I beat it, but it doesn't really it doesn't have that. I don't know. I guess that like je ne sais quoi, man. It doesn't have the same impact, the same emphasis.
I guess like quote unquote true gamers would say like you didn't beat the game until you 100%ed the game. I think
that's bogus, man.
That's the concept. That's the concept within the gaming community of like 100%ing a game. For example, like a Pokemon game, you can 100% a Pokemon game, which is like crazy amount of work, but you complete the Pokédex. I mean, what would it consist of? Like if you 100%ed?
Well, if I was to, man, that's a tough question. And
like Sword and Shield.
Okay, well, that's gated because you could, in the full game, you could complete the Pokédex. And actually, this is a great example. There's one side quest that I know what I need to do, but I have absolutely zero interest in it. And it's like this guy in one of the towns, and he says, "Oh, bring me something fiery," or like put on a fiery outfit to inspire my art. And at first I thought I have to beat the fire gym, put on the fire gym league outfit and go see him. And then it turns out you don't need to do that at all. You have to spend like 10,000 on like a specific outfit, put it on and go talk to him. And you get like something, like some small thing in return. I have no interest in doing that, but I've completed the Pokédex. So have I beaten it?
And then that goes back to our initial statement of like, it's relative, right? Because to you could say you beat it and more power to you. Like no one can knock you for that because you completed the Pokédex, right?
Yeah.
And that's a solid, standing ground. Like, I completed the Pokédex, therefore I beat this game. I think that's you can make that leap.
But I also feel like I felt a great sense of accomplishment when I actually completed the Pokédex, but I didn't feel like I hadn't beaten it because like you said, I had initially rolled credits the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like at the moment I saw credits, but it doesn't feel the same. You know what I mean? When you say like I beat something, just the way that the word is structured, it has like an emphasis at the end, like an emphasis on the t. So
More specifically, when, with the word beat, I think it has to do more with like specific challenges in a game, or a really difficult boss. Like, I beat X boss. And to me, that feels more natural
yeah.
than I beat X game for some reason.
Yeah, totally. Like in Jedi Fallen Order, a game that I saw everything in. I actually the only game I've ever 100%ed. I felt more like I beat the game after I beat the final boss than after I like got the last collectible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after I got like the last outfit or whatever it was, it felt more like, oh my gosh, it took me so much to get this 100%. Just kind of felt like exhaustion. I was like, I don't even know if it was worth it. But
Yeah. And this takes me back to like a game I used to play when I was like 12 on cartoonnetwork.com called Fusion Fall. I spent so many hours on that game to the point where I completed a bunch of things, but I never felt like I had beat the game until I beat one of the biggest bosses, which was Fuse. And I didn't feel like I had completed it until I beat him. So I think there's definitely a connection between beating bosses, or like, beating huge challenges and feeling like you've completed the game, and then using the term for that.
Now that I've said what I've said and I just listened to what you said, I wonder if it is. I don't really know how to say this. You might have to jog with me here. The game sets up a certain challenge or a certain challenge that the story, is going to fulfill by the end of it. Do you think that it's the challenge that the story sets up that is more meaningful, or the most challenging thing for you? For example, in Sayonara Wild Hearts, there was I guess like a part in the middle that I thought was the hardest part. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess it was more frustrating, but like I got through it. But I don't feel like, I guess because it was in the middle, it wasn't at the end. I feel like I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just answered my own question there. But I guess let me ask you, do you think that if the most challenging thing for you was in the middle and not at the end, how would you feel?
Well, one, I would feel like it's a really interesting game. I would appreciate that. But, I would definitely feel like I had beat the game, right? Because I beat the most difficult thing, right? The thing that's going to give me the most challenge. I got past that. So past that, I'm already like coasting. I'm just playing a game. So yeah.
Well, I guess let me tell you a game that does that, Brandon. We talked about it on the pod before. We both played it. Hyperlight Drifter, man. There's an optional boss that you can fight in that before the end, and that is like by far the hardest boss in that game, at least in my opinion. And then after I beat that, I went to like finish up the game, and I just smoked the last guy. But
It's funny. Hyperlight Drifter. I gotta work my way through that mid game then.
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's a great game, but I mean, there's so many like amazing titles out right now. Like, how are you doing on Pokemon Legends Arceus?
I have not touched that game since I got Elden Ring.
Not surprising, man. How close are you to the end of that?
To the end of Legends Arceus. I'm pretty close. I'm in no rush to finish Legends Arceus. I'm pretty close. I'm like, I would say 2/3 of the way.
It's funny that we bring that up because now that I'm thinking about it, I've heard some things on the internet that there are actually two definitive endings for Legends Arceus. I've heard that there's one when you complete the main story, and then the definitive end is when you complete the Pokédex.
That would make sense.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of like the whole premise of the game is like
Yeah.
to do the Pokédex.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. I don't know if I'm gonna get back to that. Well, man, let's move right along to Elden Ring, man. Dude, I'd love to hear some more about it. We talked a
Oh,
little
man.
bit about it last time. You just kind of barely got into it, but tell me about it, man.
Dude, I am finally in the mid game now. So I've moved along all of those like very few introductory bosses. I've gotten very familiar with the world. I've completed a large part of the map. I've gotten to explore a lot of the game. I understand a lot of the game, how it works, the multiplayer. Right about now, I'm hovering at like a level 165. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I've played this game a little bit. I don't even know what level I am. I literally know nothing, man.
That's okay. You'll figure it out as you go. But I'm level 165 and I'm still struggling with like
is that high? It sounds high.
It's very high, but I'm still struggling with mid-game bosses. Like you can beat this game at like level 50, you know? Like there's people who beat the game at that, but they just kind of like rush through everything and they just get really lucky with fights because you can, I mean, there are speedrunners who beat the game as a wretch.
Okay.
There are people who are that good at the game.
Where they like just have the club?
Yeah. And they beat the game like that, bro. And it's crazy. It's really just a skill-based game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
what
why,
are your weapons? What are your mains?
so I double wield staffs.
So you double wield magic.
Double wield 2 staffs, and I'm just sending spells and just going crazy with my spells. I don't want my enemies get too close to me. Some of my favorite spells are the arrow spell. I like using the arrow spell. I like using the moonlight spell. I also like the rock throw spell. It's like three purple rocks that I launch at enemies.
Ancient power, man.
Yeah, it looks like it really does look like ancient power. It's really funny you say that. And I never connected that until you said that just now. It's funny. And yeah, I got some pretty decent spells, man. But I just have a weakness where as a mage, I can't get hit too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really helps if I have a buddy to help me fight, especially if they are up close and personal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, hey, man, we might have to hop into the multiplayer together. Because right now, I'm 2 hands on a sword. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
What class did you end up picking?
I picked an astrologer.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I should have figured that. It's the magic build.
Yeah. It's like the base mage. They have like intelligence starting. They have a boost in intelligence, which is what gives your magic damage, and then mind is what gives you more magic, and the magic bar. FP is what we call it. And yeah, man, I've been grinding so much. Like I've been spending so much time in Elden Ring. It's nuts, dude. To the point where Naomi bought Elden Ring so that she can play with me. Because she's I've been playing so much. Shout out to Naomi for doing that. That's dope. Because I can use all the help I can get, honestly.
Does she have a P5?
No, she has my old P4.
Okay.
So I can use all the help I can get with these bosses, man. These bosses are just, oh man, they're menaces.
I have not seen a boss yet. But
You've yet to fight a boss? Oh yeah, you'll run into them eventually.
So what is a boss in this game?
I would say they're like different classes of enemies. There's like enemy, great enemy.
Well, so like if an enemy has a health bar, are they a boss?
If like a red bar populates at the bottom of your screen, they're a boss.
Okay, well I've beaten a couple of those then.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe not a couple. I was like a giant. It was like
Have you fought Godric?
Definitely not, because I've heard that name and I feel like I heard that name. There's like a camp of enemies and they were like in these ruins. And I think it was like, actually, no, I know what it is. I killed some of his soldiers and I picked up from their corpses their Godric's armor. So I know I haven't beaten him because I've only been fighting his like soldiers. But there was like some monsters on the beach. And there's like this big ice giant kind of thing that had a huge sword. I took him down.
Okay, it's probably like an ice troll. Maybe.
Yeah, I think probably. I mean, that's kind of what he looked like. Is that a boss?
It could be. There are random bosses like just out in the world that you can run into. And so, yeah, it was probably a boss, especially if the red bar populated at the bottom. But back to what I was saying, dude, I've just been caught up in the story, and I'm only in the mid game. So I'm like 33% through the main story, and I'm really struggling. Like there right now, I want to move through the Altis Plateau, and you'll figure out what that is. You'll get there after the Ryo Carry Academy. So after you fight this witch, I think her name is Renala the witch, who is really, really weird. She's just a really weird mage. After you fight her, you move on to the Altis Plateau. And you need to, in order to get to the Altis Plateau, you need to go to the Dectus lift, the grand lift of Dectus. And to operate it, you need 2 medallions, which are in 2 random forts across the world.
Oh wow!
You gotta go to these forts and collect them.
So they're not in the fixed spot.
No, they're not. And it's like, how would you know that if you didn't like pay attention?
Yeah.
I mean, there are the finger reader crones, which are really helpful. Finger reader crones are like an NPC that you can find, and they kind of tell you, they will read your fortune.
Bro, I feel like we're not even playing the same game, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it. You'll definitely get there once you unlock more of like the facets. They do a good job of gating you and then slowly but surely like introducing you to everything, and it becomes very seamless, especially with the multiplayer stuff.
I mean, something that I think is cool is like those little like messages that you can see on the ground. That's cool. I like that.
Those are hilarious. I love the bloodstains. Naomi I have a ball watching the bloodstains.
I keep seeing them, but they looked, I don't know. Every time I look at it, I'm like, if I touch it, am I gonna get poisoned? I guess I don't really know what that is.
So basically it's just, if you're playing multiplayer, it's a collection of someone, like it remembers how somebody died in that area.
So it shows you like a shadow of how somebody gets got.
Yeah. And it warns you. It's just a warning, like, hey, this is a potential way for you to die. Because I mean, in this game, like a tactic is to purposely die so that you can understand, you can learn your boss, you can learn that the enemies, how they operate, you can learn how to get through a certain area if you just, you sacrifice yourself. And that's also a tactic to stack up runes, right? If you learn how to like properly navigate areas, that way you can really go about stacking your runes. I would say,
but you can only, I mean, like if you die, you only have one chance to get your runes back, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you do it properly, you'll keep all your runes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't lost my runes yet, so I guess
that's exactly, and that's good, man. Try your best to play like that. However, the pace you've been playing that has allowed you to not lose your runes, keep that pace, because it's easy to like speed up and just, man, I can't tell you, I've lost hundreds of thousands of runes at a time, and it's so upsetting and discouraging.
Jeez, I think the most I've had is like 1,000 or 2. I bought a pot, so that's cool.
It's like I bought a pot. Yeah, man, that's the worst thing, is losing like hundreds of thousands of runes to like just bullshit, honestly.
Oh man, jeez.
And I'm just like, I'm not touching this game for the rest of the night. I can't do this anymore. And but I'll come right back to it the next day. And it's just such a good game. It's been a while since I've played through something like this.
Yeah, I'm really excited, man. I'm excited to get more into it. I'm really happy that I waited a little bit, just because like, I mean, everybody was talking about it, and I really wanted to just get into it. But I had like Guardians of the Galaxy on my plate. I really wanted to finish that out, And it feels good that it's like, this is the only game I'm playing right now, really. Like I have like some games on my Switch that I'm like always coming back to. Ollie World, like that's a great game. Just go in and play a level or two. Kind of always playing Pokemon in the background. I'll, get on that for like 20, 30 minutes. But yeah, man, This game is really cool. I can already tell that like I'm pretty much only gonna play this game until I beat it, I think. So
Dude, this game takes years to complete.
well, maybe. Okay,
It's
actually,
designed to take years to complete, which is like, why are these designers are sick? Like, how do you guys have the time?
yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy that you say that because I've kind of been feeling like I listen to when I like engage with games media. I listen to a lot of like big publications, a lot of their big podcasts. I read a lot of their big articles, and one of like my favorite ones that I like podcasts I listen to. There was this guy. I played 100+ hours of Elden Ring and I beat it in 2 weeks. I was like, that just doesn't even sound fun. How do you have time to like do that and like live your life? So I definitely am kind of going in this that I'm gonna, however long it takes me to play, experience, be whatever, like I'm gonna take my time. Like I'm not gonna rush this one because this is a special experience for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is a special experience, and I would recommend that. It makes it much more enjoyable. I can tell you from just the aspect of like having rushed through certain parts because I want to just become more powerful. I want to just be able to like easily navigate through areas and not die as much. I kind of lost track of quest lines. Like for example, there's the Ronnie the Witch quest line, which I totally fucked up because I was just following tutorials on YouTube and I messed up the order of it. And I ended up getting an ending that like I had to go on Reddit and I found like a couple other people that got the same ending. But there's essentially two endings for this quest line, and there's a third ending that's kind of glitched, and that's the ending that I got because I was just fucking around and following YouTube tutorials and shit, and I messed up the order, and I wasn't able to get a spell because of it. There's this really really powerful spell that basically pursues foes. It shoots like 6 beams that like will follow you, and I'm not able to get it, and I don't know how else I'm gonna get it.
Oh damn! Are you
because
gonna
of
start
that.
over?
Definitely not going to start over the game because of it, but I mean, I'll figure it out. I'm sure there'll probably be a patch or something along the way. I could probably find it at like a merchant shop or something somewhere. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
dude.
I'm not tripping over it, but yeah, definitely all that to say, it's meant to be played like how you're playing it, just taking your time, listening to the NPCs, taking notes. Like I keep a log now because I have to. I'm not allowing shit like that to happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a little journal that I'm doing too. And I think that's really fun. I mean, it's a good way to just like write things down in it. And I don't know. I also like it's a good way for me to practice my drawing, practice my like art that I do. So I think it's
Yeah.
really cool, man. The art style is awesome. It's very like Victorian horror, man. It's pretty cool. I
Oh
mean, I don't.
man. Yeah, dude. I was gonna get into that. Like the background, there's totally some lo-fi kind of like you can just let the
Oh yeah. It's kind of like
ambient
Skyrim
sound
in
of
that
the
way.
background just play and it's beautiful. There's somebody on YouTube who already made like they kind of just stripped the audio and they made a video for it. And
That's
you can
awesome.
check it out. I'll send it to you later.
I might definitely throw that up if I'm doing some stuff.
I've already thrown it up and it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm about that, man. That's really cool. You know, one thing that I want to say with this though, I want to know how you feel because I feel like no matter what, I guess I'll just get into it. I feel like no matter what, I feel like you would have played as a mage. Am I right about that?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
That's because of
So
Skyrim.
yeah, but man, I straight up, man, it took me an hour plus for me to decide which class I wanted. And I had knew there was a samurai class, and I really enjoyed my time with Ghost of Tsushima, and I was like, dude, I think I want to play as a samurai. But I almost, if I had gone in without knowing that the samurai was there, or if like the samurai wasn't an option, I definitely had a strong second pick. And I was like, should I do this second pick? And I ended up going with my gut. I ended up going with samurai. But sometimes I feel like, man, I feel like this is a very outdated thing where it's like you're gonna spend hundreds of hours in this and kind of your entire play style that you don't even really know how you're going to experience the game yet. But like your whole play style depends really on like picking this character, you know? And like
Yeah.
I had picked the samurai because like you get a shield that you can parry with and you have a bow. I tried the bow. I hate the bow. Like I really like truthfully, I was like, this bow is not for me. I don't like the shield either. So I'm two-handing my katana, which is working great for me. But I mean, I think there's a class where it's literally just a dude with a big sword. And I wonder maybe
Yeah.
if I would have liked that better.
Would that be better?
Yeah.
And hey, I mean, you're bringing up a great point, and something that this game was definitely, took into thought when they were making it. Every class has kind of subclasses. So even for the mage, I can be a mage, and sometimes I like alternate. I'll be a mage who's like in your face. I have spells with swords and stuff, and I can like, be in your face, but I can also be a mage who's like, I'm not gonna let you touch me, and I'm just gonna shoot shit at you. And so I'll shift my flask so that I have like 9 magic flasks and like 1 health flask, but I'm not gonna need the health flask because you're not even gonna get close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about how you want to play, and every single class has that spectrum.
Yeah.
And it allows it gives the game that like level of creativity and freedom almost, where like any class, even the wretch, can become like an ultimate mage or the ultimate two-handed person if given the proper stats and the proper time.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny that you say that because maybe I should look up some tutorials on like how people build their samurai, because I found a second sword and I put that in my other hand and I wrecked some people when I had like 2 swords, 1 in each hand.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, no, I know my buddy Edgar is also a samurai, and he's crazy about dual wielding. He's just always dual wielding.
It's really fun, man. That's definitely a fun way.
He loves just having like two wacky swords on opposite hands. He loves doing that.
I'm about it. Well, let me ask you something else, man. How do you feel about the controls? Do you like the way the controller's set up, like the controls?
That's a good question. I think the controls, I mean, they definitely get the job done. Do I think that they're like the best? I mean, at times the locking mechanism really kind of trips me up, especially when I'm fighting like super aggressive bosses, because it feels pointless having that like auto lock mechanism, because I'll auto lock and I'll shoot a spell and
Is that the R3 for you?
Yeah, that's the analog stick.
So I was gonna say, man, I hated that. I completely remapped my controller.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I know you can do that too. I haven't remapped it at all. But
so I said completely, but I did 2 big things, and I would recommend doing this to anybody, because once I did this, I had a ton more fun with it. So basically, I've never played a Souls-like game before. Like I've never played a From Software game before. I know that they made like Demon Souls, like Bloodborne, whatever, all those games.
Yeah.
But I've never played one of them. But 2 of my favorite games of all time were Ghost of Tsushima and Jedi Fallen Order, which were both inspired by. And they had something with the controls that I really liked. And I was surprised to find that these controls were not the same, because 2 people that, I guess kind of adopted this kind of style used pretty much the exact same thing. And that is the square button is your main attack, and your triangle is your special. So basically what I did is I changed what would have been the R1 or your right bumper. I put that as my X, and what would have been the trigger, I put that as triangle on the right side.
Interesting. So I'm trying to picture how that would happen if I'm fighting. Your auto lock is still the R3.
I also switched that. I switched my R3 and L3.
Okay, so your auto lock is L3.
Which I don't hit it as much. Yeah, I think that's what I did.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. That'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I really like that. So like whenever I dual wield swords, the sword that's on my left hand, it's still like the bumper and trigger. And for my main one, so like this is what I like. If I do 2 hands on one sword, I hit the square button and it swings it. But then if somebody like comes at me, I can hit the left trigger and it blocks it. if I'm two-handing a sword, you hit that and you block. And blocking is a big mechanic in this game. And it's a little bit different because like the other games that I just mentioned, Jedi Fallen Order and Ghost of Tsushima, parrying was a bigger thing. And I haven't really been able to parry with just the big sword. So I'm interested to see if the parrying will become a bigger mechanic in my playstyle later on. But at the moment, I'm pretty much doing the block and with the big sword. That really helped me out.
I'm playing with the shield a lot, and so I'm pairing quite a bit. I have a question for you though. How have you been feeling with the leveling up mechanism? And do you feel any
I
pressure?
don't know how to.
Do you feel any pressure when it comes to like, am I putting my stats together right for my samurai?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that yet. And the truth is, man, I was like, I think I should probably be upgrading my stats at this point, but I have no idea how to do that. I just spoke to, so apparently, Brandon, apparently I'm maidenless. So,
You are maidenless.
So I don't know how to say her name, but is it Melina? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Melina.
Yeah, Melina. I just spoke with Melina, and
yeah, she's good.
I guess I accepted her proposal. I accepted her boon, and she said that she could help me upgrade my stats. She said a location that I've never heard of, never seen. So maybe I'll find her again. What?
Did you say the round table hold?
I don't believe so. I don't know. I missed it. So, I thought she mentioned a tree. Didn't write that part down. I got her name and I got my spectral horse torrent.
That's dope. So, she's the best. She's what's up.
Do you interact with her quite a bit during the game?
Not much. Not after the intro, really.
Wait, what?
After you're kind of in the intro, so like after that, you don't really interact with her much.
Oh, I thought she said that she could trade my runes for upgrades. Is that not how you? I guess I just assumed I would go to her to upgrade my stats.
Maybe she means like she's the grace. I don't know what that means. Yeah. But like it could mean that she's the person at the grace and she's the one responsible for like leveling up for you or whatever and whatnot.
Yeah. So I guess how do you do that, man? How do you even level? How do I even tell if I can level up? How do I know what level I am?
So you would press the settings menu, like the options, and then press R1, go all the way to the right, and to save the game. And there you would see like level 163, you would see your play
time. Didn't know you could do that. I've just been shutting it off because I was like, I can't find a pause menu. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't lost anything. I mean, this game doesn't have a pause, does it?
It does, but it's futile because it's online. So you could pause and the enemy could come and whack you. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
So I have to like hit the option, or I guess the start or select button, and then hit the triggers. I guess I have to look at that. I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
Go all the way to the settings. It's just like a menu where you can like scroll through shit. I mean,
I know where like my
you have to navigate it for it. You have to navigate to it to change your buttons, so you kind of know it.
Okay, so I guess it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, all the way to the right, the last one. That's where you go to save the game. And that's
so does it tell you you have stats to allocate?
So when you want to level up, you go to the grace, right? Any of the grace points. And you can see on the option menu, like level up, and you press that and it'll give you like your stat menu and it'll tell you how many runes you have and how many runes you need.
I haven't been to a grace point since I spoke to her. So maybe
definitely
that's why
stop
I
by
seen that.
A grace point and try and use your runes to level up, dude. You're probably level 1 still.
Oh boy. I guess if I haven't done it, am I still level 1?
Yeah, you have to be.
Nice, bro. Level 1 out here. So
level 1 out here, dude.
Do you know how many times you've died?
Oh man, I don't know, but I'm sure there's a counter and it's probably somewhere in the hundreds for me at this point. Honestly.
I knew that people were dying a lot, so I'm keeping track. I've died 10 times at this point. So I guess I'll let you know how that goes. I'm feeling cocky though. I'm feeling good.
That's not good, dude.
It's not good? No. I don't know, man. I feel like I figured out my style. It really took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to do with 2 swords, 1 sword. Yeah. Also, I feel like I heard that you find a lot of weapons in this game, and I have not really found any. Is that something you have to like really seek out? Do they make it hard to find, or?
Yeah, bro. Literally roll into the barrels, check corners, jump down ledges, and like it's like that, dude. They purposely, and I love watching YouTube videos where people are going over like the worst reviews for Elden Ring because it's like people are like it's such a bad game, like it's horribly designed. Like I beat it so quickly, and it's like yeah, you can beat this game super quickly if you want to. You can just go play through the straight story mode, ignore everything, just get like whatever's handed to you. But you'll miss so much of the game because there's everywhere. There's around every corner, around anywhere, any mission you'll find like random items that will really help you, talismans, put like potions, just random shit, dude. And there's already people who are like making like full area guides, which are really helpful. And I would suggest those to you when you're going through an area, like maybe prior to playing through it, watch this person like run through the area and everything they pick up, like try and pick up.
I think what I'm gonna do, I might I mean, like I'm still kind of feeling it out. Like I'm still fighting the enemies that I see on the map, and I'm kind of just like going through that. I might like once I see everything that I can get to now, yeah, I might take a guide if I'm still like a little lost.
Yeah, definitely like fully explore everything before you move on. But don't be afraid to use a guide. It'll save you so much time, dude, because
Yeah.
honestly,
Like I don't really want to miss anything, so I think I might check a guide out after I'm feeling like I saw
and
everything.
there's this website I was using earlier today, which is super interactive, where you can like filter through the Elden Ring map. It has like the Elden Ring map, and you can click like bosses, and it'll show you all the bosses in the area. You can click like items, and it'll show you all the items. It's like, dude, people are already like making elaborate stuff.
I mean, this
Yeah,
game is awesome, dude. Like
I love
I'm
it.
not gonna lie, man. I might if I really like how it ends and I like the whole experience, I might do like a see, this is what I do like about these kind of games is you can play it once and like you've had a whole like experience as a mage. But if you wanted to, you could start another save file as a
Right.
samurai or a wretch.
I totally could. And I think about that all the time. Like, I love the idea of incantations. The incantations look so freaking cool.
They're just
They're like
different
a,
than the
it's
spells.
like a different route than a mage. There's like people you invest in faith. Faith is like a different kind of
Yeah, I saw
route.
the fate thing.
And they can do like incantations that allows them to heal, allows them to shoot fire. Like they just have different types of spells, and they actually look a little more powerful than the mage stuff. But I mean, it's something I can explore. I can come back, like you said, I could just come back and have a playthrough as I think the class is prisoner. I can have a
Oh no,
playthrough as a prisoner.
I think it isn't it like the well,
They have like
I
a
I don't
shackle on their neck. They have like this like
yeah, that was my second choice. I really thought about being the prisoner. I
yeah.
thought that would be really cool, but
Dude,
I couldn't.
powerful stuff, dude. When you get
Uh,
those incantations, man.
maybe I messed up.
Because right now, I'm having to use their skill set because there are these really annoying bosses that give you Scarlet Rot, and Scarlet Rot is this super annoying form of poisoning that directly chops at your HP bar, and as you can imagine, that makes fighting big bosses a pain in the ass. So I have to use their incantation key. There's like a key that they carry, and you also have to carry the incantation, and that takes up one of my spell slots. So I have to carry one last spell just so I can carry a cure poison incantation so that whenever I get Scarlet Rotted, I can use this incantation and it makes the fights a lot more pleasant.
Okay, so what do you mean by like just chops at your HP? I've been poisoned by the bats. Is it kind of like that, or is it like
Because
more
there's different types of poisons, right?
Okay.
There's one poison, bro, that's so annoying because it's bullshit. It's called Death Blighted. And it's like you'll see it on your screen. It's like this little rectangle. It's like this black thing. And it has like it looks scary. But Death Blighted, there's no escaping. Once you're Death Blighted, once the bar like heads down to 0, you're gonna die. And that's it. So you can't get Death Blighted. And yeah. But if you have the proper incantation, you can avoid that. So prisoners
Wow.
have that really cool skill set where they can navigate fights like that. I mean, as a mage, you just kind of got to put up with that bullshit and boom them real quick, or else we got to deal with it.
Well, I guess I didn't realize that there was that kind of stuff in there. It's like if
Yeah,
you get poisoned, like there's nothing you can do.
there's so many layers to this game. Like
Oh,
the little
jeez.
corner, the left corner down there, you can see like the different like just aspects. And there's still parts I don't know. Like there's still a menu I don't know. I like to watch like people live stream and just see how they play, especially other mages, and just see how they play, see what they're using, see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
maybe I should check out some. I mean, like I'm really kind of just like taking this as like a solo experience right now, but maybe I should like look into see what the community is doing around it. I might have a better time.
yeah, I was also coming at it as a solo experience. I don't know if you remember me telling you, but it's just there's such a like good community around it that it feels difficult. I joined the Elden Ring subreddit. It feels difficult not to use help. It has made the experience so much more pleasant for me, so much more seamless. It's really because of my friend Jared. Shout outs to Jared. He's a mage also. And just seeing him like with all the cool mage stuff and like just he would just flex on me, dude. He would pull up every time I played with Jared, he would pull up with like some new spell, some new thing, and I'd be like, damn, dude, I really gotta level up. I really gotta.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. Well, let me ask you this. One of my favorite things about playing these kind of games, well, I guess any game in general, really, I love being able to like customize my outfit. But I've really only found like one set of armor. And I know I haven't really heard too much about it. Are there a lot of cool armor sets? Or is it more just like
tons,
cool? Oh,
tons
there
of
is.
tons of cool armor sets out there for you to explore, for you to
Nice
create,
guy.
for you, to improve upon. Definitely collect those smithing stones.
Yeah, I
Those,
upgraded my sword. So that was
yep,
cool. Smith that up.
tons and tons of cool armor out there. Really, really cool opportunities to like just customize. So yeah.
That's exciting, man. I'm gonna have to jump back into it. I mean, like I'm kind of taking it slow, taking my time. I mean, I've only had it a couple days, but I'm gonna have to jump into it tonight, man.
Dude,
Uh,
we should play after this, man.
well, I feel like I want to get I don't know, man. I mean, I'm a low level one. You're 168. I just don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if
I
I'll
can
be able to
help you
keep
out.
up.
I can help you out with some bosses and stuff as soon as you unlock the multiplayer stuff. So
Maybe. I think. I mean, like I have like a tarnished finger, or whatever it's called.
oh, you have a tarnished finger, so you can that means I can summon you.
I think so. I think
I
you
can
could do it.
summon you and I can help you get some
You know
runes.
what? I'd actually. I feel like I'd rather jump into your world. You know. I'd
Yeah,
hate to show
because
you up as a level one. You know.
uh,
Hey man,
dude,
I'm feeling cocky. I mean, I guess I'm not. I'm really not that far into it, so maybe maybe I shouldn't be. But
that's good. It's good. It's
we'll
good to
have to
feel
see,
like
man.
that.
Yeah, We definitely should jump into it. I'm really curious to see what the multiplayer is like. I've heard some really cool things, so I would love to jump in that with you, man. I think I got to get a little bit further in. Maybe level up once or twice, just so I kind of have a better understanding of the game. But
Dude, I can help
definitely,
you. I can help you level up.
definitely this weekend, man.
Yep.
All right, bro.
But like, yeah, let's get into the next thing.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, as we discussed previously, I saw credits on this game. I experienced it. And dude, I just got to say, man, if you've ever been interested, okay, let me ask you this. Did you like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
I loved it. It was so dope.
Dude, me
So
too,
dope.
man. After experiencing this game, though, I'd give it a 3 out of 10. If this experience was a 10 out of 10, playing the
Wow.
game, movie was a 3.
Damn.
And I almost wasn't gonna say that, but like that's like literally what my mind went to after I like experienced this. This was truthfully, Brandon, I feel mad at the movies of how they portrayed the Guardians. And now that I've like
Okay.
played this game. This game, so I don't know if this is true. My PlayStation said it took me 15 hours to experience this, which is relatively short. It
Yeah.
felt a lot longer than that. It felt like 20. So I don't know if maybe there was like an issue and it didn't clock some of my time, or maybe it felt long because there is a big drawback to this game that I'll get into in a second. But truthfully, man, it was so cool to experience this, because just the being on, it really felt like I was on the team with the other Guardians. And I think we kind of talked about it in the beginning, my first like impressions with it, like Drax and Rocket, they were having like some really tough times, like norming with each other. And it totally, like by the end of it, you guys are a team, like a full team. And it's really just like a crazy cool experience. So I guess let me just kind of like go through some stuff really quick. It's like way more explicit than like the movies. And what I mean by that is like each character has way more in-depth character development and story arcs. And there's just absolutely so much lore. And it's just so much more rewarding, because as you play through it, a lot of this game is you're kind of, Peter Quill, and like let's say Drax and Rocket are talking to each other, or Gamora is talking to Rocket. And a lot of that is just like you're listening. And a lot of the times it actually behooves you to say something. Like let's say Rocket and Gamora are having like a conversation and it like starts to get into a fight. You can say something or you can not say something. And like if you choose to not say something, it kind of like plays out in its own way. But there's a couple times when, let's say like Drax is being very antagonistic to Rocket, and you intervene and you say like, hey, like Drax, like, come on, we're on the same team here. Like, don't do that. Rocket, like you'll get like a little status buff and it'll say Rocket appreciates you sticking up for him. And it just really worked, man. And there's this question that I pose myself, and the mechanics and gameplay, does this push gaming forward? Does this push the medium forward? Which I think is like, you don't really need to ask that about very many games. You know what I mean? Most games don't push the medium forward, but there's part of this, Brandon, that like is totally new and totally different than any other game I've ever played. And I think you'd really enjoy it, especially if you like Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's all to do with this dialogue. And the team members are just like constantly talking to each other. You can interact with them in different ways, and they have their own kind of interactions that happen independently of you, the player. And it feels like groundbreaking. It's like you really feel like you're there, part of it, because so many things are happening that you can intervene with, but a lot of it happens, independently of you, which is just crazy. I don't know, man. It's true. It's truly nuts.
It feels like there's like a whole world that's moving along with you. Almost.
Yeah, definitely. And like truthfully, like Groot and Rocket, they have their own relationship, and they're like always talking shit about everybody else together. And like Groot will say like, I am Groot, and Rocket will just like start laughing and be like, good one, Groot. And like Gamora and Drax, like they have their own relationship, and it started off terrible because, so at the beginning of the game, it's not really explicitly said, but you find out towards the end that at the start of the game, you guys have only been on a couple missions together, 2 or 3 missions together with everybody on the team, Gamora included. So Gamora's the last person to join the Guardians of the Galaxy, and she's only been on a couple missions with you. And you really go through this whole thing where the team pretty much breaks up at one point, and then through forces that almost nobody could control, it gets like forced back together to do a mission that has a very clear end. And once that mission is over, it's like everybody's kind of like, this is it. And the story just spirals from there, and the team members really, kind of realize like how they all work so well together. And it's just crazy. And by the end of it, Gamora and Drax have like this really great bond, and they like make jokes at Peter and Rocket because they like guns and they both have swords, and they're just like, guns. Like they always are like cracking jokes, by the end of it. And like Drax and Rocket, they have like a really, bad relationship starting off. And, by the end, Drax has a very different outlook, and he commends Rocket for quote unquote showing valor in a moment when they all needed him. And that's like kind of Rocket's whole thing. Like he's just like a self, fulfilling dude where he just kind of like does his own thing. And, like Rocket and Gamora, they always like stick up for each other. And that's pretty cool. And they like, you'll just catch them chatting about things, different tech and stuff. It's kind of weird if you're just hanging out on the ship and you'll just like catch them talking to each other. And it's really cool. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I just like never experienced anything like that. That feels like very immersive, kind of like a sim, but it's like you're just in it and you can interact with it.
It kind of feels like a movie in a way, but not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And I wanted to kind of compare this to like, let's just say it was like truly 15 hours. Like, let's say I spent 15 hours doing this game. That's like a season and a half of like a TV show. And it feels like the characters are just like so much more drawn out and it just feels so much more meaningful because you like were able to take actions. And this is also something that should be stated. There's a lot of things where you get put into a decision that you have to make in like 5 seconds and you have to choose one way or the other. And that'll basically, shift the storyline in the next couple missions. I had a moment very early on in the game, the first 3 hours, where I could choose to either hide quarantine item on the ship, like we were going to get boarded by the Nova Corps, and I could either hide illegal item that we weren't supposed to have, or I could hide illegal tech that Rocket was going to use to upgrade the ship's weapons. And I chose to hide the illegal weapons that Rocket was going to use. And we ended up getting this like fine for the illegal thing that we had, which like everybody was pissed because they said, Rocket, like, how could you put something in there? This was like where this was supposed to go. And then like everybody but Rocket was mad at me that I chose to not hide the weapons. And then later on in the game, the game told me, I got like a status bar at the top and it was like, because you hid Rocket's weapon upgrades, you can now engage in this dogfight. And I absolutely wrecked this dude. He was like a mercenary trying to get a bounty on us because like we were wanted. And I just like was absolutely able to like wreck him with some like super cool dogfight stuff, in the ship. And I don't know if that would have happened, but I feel like it wouldn't have played out the same way because I had upgraded weapons. So, but something that I do want to say is I've said a lot of praise about this, Brandon. There's some things that really bug me. And this game, the fighting in it it's not great. You really do. You're the weakest team member. You have these pea shooter pistols and everybody else is like way more powerful than you, but you have to tell them what to do. And if you don't tell them to do it, like they don't do it. Like you're really like a team leader and you have to like command them. I don't really know how it works. And like that kind of stuff was really tedious to me. Like it like really kind of dragged out and like just, I didn't really like the fighting. Didn't think the fighting was fun. There were a lot of puzzles that I didn't really think were good. Like they're just kind of frustrating and not really challenging. So I don't know. Overall, it was a really cool experience and I loved experiencing it. But if I was anybody, I wouldn't pick this up if it wasn't on sale because as cool as like experiencing the story is, the fighting and stuff just wasn't fun.
Yeah.
So if you see it on sale and you got 15, 20 hours you want to kill and check it out. But I will say, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy at all, this is so much more of a cool experience. I liked them. I liked the movies, but I feel like I know them in just like a totally different way now. And I don't know, I might pick up a comic. I might not.
Hopefully you pick up a comic and you can continue to appreciate the story that like was introduced to you through the video game.
Yeah, and like truthfully, man, the lore of this was like so much cooler. I don't know if we've really gotten into it, but Drax is Drax the Destroyer, and he's like in the comic universe, he's the person that kills Thanos. And Gamora, the deadliest woman in the galaxy, her name is a misnomer in the comics. Do you know what that means?
Misnomer? No.
So it's kind of like where, oh man, see, now that I have to explain it, I feel like I don't. It's kind of like where like the name means something like deadliest woman in the galaxy, but it's not really. Oh gosh, I gotta look it up. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that she got her nickname the deadliest woman in the galaxy for something that was unrelated to killing. Let me actually read you the definition. So a misnomer is a wrong or inaccurate name or designation. So basically, I guess this is like a light spoiler, but if you read the comics at all, like you kind of would know this. Actually, I guess I'm gonna spoil a couple things that are just like they're in the comics, but they're not in the movies. So like if you only like experience the movies and what I said intrigued you and you want to pick up the game, like maybe skip ahead. This was one of the coolest parts about this game, but truthfully, like they're just in the comics. So like Gamora, for example, she actually got the nickname the deadliest woman in the galaxy as kind of like a mockery to her, because after she switched sides in the war, there was I guess like a Kree Nova Corps individual that wanted her to kill a child. And it was like a child queen. And basically if she assassinated this child queen, they wouldn't be able to, it would basically like change I guess the alliance of this like planet nation. And Gamora wouldn't assassinate this child. And she like made them go to like, it was like a private mission at the end of the war. And she like basically made the Nova Corps like settle it through diplomatic means because she refused to assassinate a kid. And everyone started calling her like the deadliest woman in the galaxy because it was like kind of like a mock to her because she switched sides after being a daughter of Thanos and like wouldn't kill somebody for the side. But it's really interesting because it kind of goes into her whole character. Yeah, like she switched sides and then was told to murder like a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see how it'd be really tough for somebody. And then you kind of learn like just through the story, she just becomes like very vulnerable, and how this is kind of like Mantis. She has like a different role in this game as well. And like her and Gamora have very intimate, not like physically intimate, but like very emotionally intimate relationship. And it's kind of like implied that Gamora was going to kill herself. It's implied that she was suicidal and that Mantis convinced her to join the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's very much clear that Drax is like struggling so much with the loss of his wife and kids. And Rocket is just finding it hard to trust anybody because he's just never had anybody that he could trust before. And it's a crazy game. Like you literally just learn so much. And then also it's kind of like a funny moment in the game, but they messed up the form. So like basically it's like the equivalent of like filling out like a tax form. And in the game, they basically filed their business, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they spelled it wrong. And it's when they get arrested by Nova Corps, they're called the Gardeners of the Galaxy. And that's how Peter finds out that they spelled it wrong. They spelled the name of their business, the Guardians of the Galaxy, wrong. So they're the Gardeners of the Galaxy, dude. Saving the galaxy one planet at a time.
If you could be any Guardian, which one would you be?
After this game, man, Peter Quill, hands down, because I mean, like, truthfully, he's a great leader in this game, which is something that, like, in the movies, God, what's his name? Andy from Parks and Rec, the new Mario, what's his name?
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
oh my
let's go.
He's like such a goofball in the movie, but in this game, Peter Quill is absolutely like he's got like a little bit of a goofy side, but truthfully, he's like a great leader and listens very well to everyone on the team. And it's really incredible. Like he has some moments where you get presented with dialogue options and like it's very compelling. You can choose the option that you think is right. And if it's right, like he really goes into like an elaborate speech that like truthfully is very good. He has very good vernacular and is very sympathetic, which in the game makes him a great leader. It makes it a great person to interact with these characters. Because in the game, like the game mechanic of choosing a dialogue option it's pretty straightforward where it's like kind of how the conversation is going to go. But when you click on it, it kind of is set in a very very good way, I guess, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah, it's a really cool experience, man. Definitely worth checking out.
Anything else on Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh man, there's some really cool outfits. There's an outfit where, so like also each of the outfits, they kind of say they have the comic that they came from, like the comic run that they originated from, and like a little bit of lore to it.
Oh, that's
And
dope.
I mean, like these, like you truly, if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, like, I mean, this is probably the ultimate experience you could have. And
Right.
there's one that you find for Groot pretty early on, and it's called the Five Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And basically, Groot is this like blackened tree. It has like red blood stains on him that are like glowing, and he's glowing red and black. And in the paragraph from the comic, it says, Groot had, it's Rocket speaking. He's like, Groot had a dream last night that we all went rogue and we ended up destroying the galaxy. And he's like, and that's kind of what like the excerpt was. So like this is like what they would have been if they like went like rogue and destroyed the galaxy. And is basically in a dream, and then it's from this comic book run where it's like Apocalypse, and it's basically like an X-Men Guardians of the Galaxy crossover. So I don't know when this happened, but that's like really cool because Star-Lord's outfit is like him, and he's got like red eyes and like a Speedo, and Drax's.
He looks serious.
Yeah, Drax's is crazy too. You should look up the Guardians of the Galaxy Apocalypse outfits. Let me see if it pulls it up. Yeah, it's sick, man. And like Peter's, like his mask, he's got like horns on it. Drax, like his tribal tattoos are like glowing red. Gamora's is really cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think honestly, I gotta say, man, I think Rocket's, all of his customizations, I think they're kind of weak. But
I mean, he's a raccoon. Like, how do you style a raccoon?
yeah, I don't really like I don't like any of his outfits, but everyone else's like has some sick ones.
Dude,
Drax has got a really cool one where he's like a boxer. That one's cool. I like that one. Yeah, it's sick,
Gamora
man.
looks dope. The Apocalypse outfit for Gamora is sick.
Yeah.
Groot's is awesome. I think Groot's is the coolest in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was rocking that for like half the game. But he's just like so sweet that it's like kind of funny to have him truthfully look like
Like a demon.
like he looks like a demon, yeah, like straight
Yeah.
up.
No,
Yeah,
but
so-
Rocket is, oh man, I would hate to get into a fight with Rocket.
Yeah, he's scrappy, man. And it's honestly, he's got a really cool like special ability. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this, man. It's worth bringing up. Every time like we'd finish a combat encounter, I'd get like experience points. And there was a number I kept getting every time it like the progress bar would like fill up, I'd get a 1 and then it'd go to 2. And at one point I had like 20 something. And I was like, oh, cool. Like I'm level 28. It doesn't really mean anything though. It's like, I don't know why they keep giving me these. Like I can't, it's not like I can spend these on anything or something. And then I was like, I bet there's points I can spend. And I like hit the button on the PlayStation, and like sure enough, I had so many of these that I literally got every upgrade in the game at once. I was like, that would have been nice to know, considering I'm in the final mission, that I could have been upgrading my characters this whole time, but whatever. So yeah, definitely the combat is not amazing. It's not even good. At times it's tedious, but through that is like a truly incredible experience. So definitely worth checking out. Definitely get it on sale. Like, I don't know if I'd pay full price for this one just because those parts did drag on. And like my PlayStation said I played for 15 hours, but it really felt more than that. And it's because I didn't like the combat. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, man. Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe I'll make a YouTube video of
The
that.
Galaxy. Get it if you haven't already. Hopefully it goes on sale so I can cop it because I'm not copying it at full price.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. This game has actually gone on sale a couple times since it's come out, and I did pick it up on sale, and it goes on sale pretty regularly. And I've actually been following this a little bit because I was very interested in this game when it came out. I had a great experience with it, and the people that developed this was Square Enix, and a lot of the people that helped were Eidos Montreal, and they're the people that made the Tomb Raider games, which I love the Tomb Raider games. And I just think it's interesting that Square Enix kind of said in some interviews, or I guess not interviews, they were corporate quarterly statements. They said that this game underperformed according to their expectations. And I just think that's crazy, because part of this game is like revolutionary, but part of it is like terrible. And the part of it that's like not fun is the combat, which a lot of people would come to this for. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting that I don't know. It kind of feels like they didn't meet the expectations, but like they also like, I feel like they just misunderstood what the product even was. It feels like in the marketing, they used a lot of this combat, and it's like they didn't really know. It feels they didn't know what made this game special. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah. So it's like the parts of it that made it cool were not the parts that they were showing, and not the parts that they thought people would enjoy. So definitely pick it up if it's on sale. It's like, I mean, it's definitely an interesting game, because I mean, like, it does some revolutionary things, and then like you'll experience the combat and you'll be like, man, this definitely feels like a step back in 2022, but it's a cool experience. You'll gain a ton of lore, and it's really cool. But that's about all I got, man. I'm ready to wrap this up.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, you're a blessing. We love you so much. Stay tuned to the Sticky Buns podcast. We appreciate you guys. Check us out on Instagram, Patreon, YouTube, all that good stuff. Share us. Tell a friend about us. And
yeah, seriously, the best way to help us out is to share with a friend. Brandon, I just gotta say, I'm ready to cross the fog into the lands between.
Oh man, I want to get a poster. I want to get a poster and put it right there. I want to get like thinking I can't decide between like a map, a world map, or like,
oh, that'd be cool.
Maybe something like a little more personal, like a mage kind of poster.
Here's a thought. So, okay, actually, really quick before we end this up, what if you took a screenshot of your character, and what if you went in? I guess it's not really photo mode. It'd have to be like a screenshot. What if you did your character doing like a sick move or sick something, and like took a screenshot of it, and then made that a poster?
Not a bad idea. I could take a photo of me on tour.
Yeah.
That on a poster.
So the reason
that way I could frame it easily too. I can just have them like frame it.
So here, let me tell you this. Maybe you should start off with this, and then maybe get to a poster. This week I took a bunch of like screenshots that I had from my Switch and my PlayStation, and I put them on my laptop, and they're my backgrounds now. Every minute, my background is a new screenshot. Some of like the coolest games that I played. Like I've got like Hyper Light Drifter, like Pokemon Legends Arceus, and just like a ton of others. It's really cool. It's easy to set up on Mac too, to like every 30 seconds have it switch to another screenshot. So I don't know, man, maybe you should try that out. Start small, Well, dude, I think I'm ready to end it up. Thanks to everybody for listening, and I guess we're all maidenless.
Peace in the streets. Peace in the Elden streets.
Come the Elden Lord.